What is up, friends? I am at work today at our facility in beautiful southern Alberta, Canada. And this is our hydro bucket room. I know I haven't posted in a while about this room, but I'm happy to give an update on what I'm doing here. You know, my intent really is I'm trying to do something that is different. I'm trying to make a system that replicates how I used to grow. I mean, how I grew as an ACMPR grower, right? As a licensed medical grower, where I didn't want to recirculate everything. I know that recirculating systems give you the ability to have everything absolutely perfect. I'm not denying that that isn't true. But you can still have amazing results without a recirculating system. I grew for years with my ACMPR room was 4 lights, so 16 hydro buckets. That's what I flower. That was my flower room, and I would fill like a garbage can, however many gallons that I needed. I would fill that. Mix my nutrient solution. I'd use a chiller to chill it where it needed to be, and then I would pump that into every individual hydro bucket. Then I would let it sit in the hydro buckets for the determined time, depending if it's veg or it's flower or whatever. I mean, that's a whole different conversation. And then I would, randomly check, if everything looked good, it's good. But I would randomly check, maybe, every few days I would check the pH of one of the buckets or all the buckets, depending. And usually they're all exactly the same. And if one needed to be adjusted, if I found one bucket was 6.5 pH, then I would add X amount of pH down to all of them without checking them all, and then maybe in a week I would check them all again. But it sometimes wouldn't matter, because depending on where I was, I may be dumping that out anyway and refilling anyway. So I hope that makes sense, but it was just trying to grow without recirculating, and I had great success. Amazing flower, amazing yield, without recirculating, and that's what I was trying to do. So that's what I'm trying to do here on a bigger scale. Now I'm trying to simplify it. What you can see behind me is that this is our mix tank, right? And so essentially, instead of filling individual hydro buckets with a pump and a hose, right, we can just mix into this fertigation tank here, right there. And then we can turn it on and just pump it into our flowering room, into the hydro buckets that are all attached to float valves to control the level. And that's it. It's essentially recreating what I was doing, but automating it a bit. Okay. So, if you want to know stuff, you got to fuck around and find out. Nothing new ever happens if we don't try. So, you ask, why am I doing this? Why don't I just hook up a recirculating system? Good question. I'm always looking for the way, and this is even more important now that we're in a in this style of grow, a licensed producer, and we're going to be potentially scaling. I don't know if we'll do it this way or not, but I'm always looking at growing the best quality plants, the highest quality plants, the best yields I can get for the least amount of resources. Okay, so I knew I could do that at home. When you do a recirculating system, it just costs more. And I, like I said, I know recirculating systems are the bomb. They're incredible. It's known because you can dial in exactly what you want. But that doesn't discount other methods and just single site deep water culture for getting amazing results. And so what I'm trying to do is grow plants always at the best quality and use as few resources as possible. And when we get away from a recirculating system, we use fewer resources, we use fewer nutrients, we use less fluid. So that's what we're trying to do. You know, I have to say, shout out to hydroponics, because there's so many ways that hydroponics work. Recirculating, non-recirculating, ebb and flow, Dutch buckets, aeroponics. You know, it's endless. It's amazing how resilient plants are and how well they take to hydroponics. So, you know, it's just finding different ways to grow plants. You know, and this is an adventure for me. So anyway, today I am mixing some nutrients into that nutrient solution. And I mean, check out our line. We're using current culture. I love the current culture nutrients because they're nutrients designed for deep water culture. I've tried a lot of nutrients, and listen, nutrients work. Almost all of them work, and they work well as long as they're fully dissolvable and they have they say hydro, but even some say hydro. I've seen products that say good for hydroponics, and they're not. They don't fully dissolve, and they cake up and shit up your root mass. So these are highly filtered, designed by a company that was a recirculating deep water culture equipment company that then made nutrients. So you have to believe that they were designed specifically for hydroponics in the use of deep water culture, recirculating deep water culture, high pressure aeroponics, right? So current culture, just like many other nutrients, they are amazing nutrients. So we're so happy to be using them. And then of course, you know, we're gonna use Hygrozyme as well. That is, you know, the use of an enzyme. I always say it's like insurance. Any root debris that gets in there or dead organic material that gets into your nutrient solution, this is going to keep it clean so it does not turn into a piece of rot and a piece of you know, something that's going to jeopardize your root mass, because we can't have that. We have to have success when we're growing in this capacity, right? But this is essentially what we're doing here, right? Is we have a chiller hooked up so we can chill this water so it's cold as fuck. So when we do top up our plants into the flower room, we're topping it up with really cold water. So that little bit of topping up that we do, especially as the plants grow and consume more and the pump kicks on a timer regularly, it's going to be able to top up automatically with really cold water. That's, if you can see back here, we have an auto doser. And so we have our auto doser, which is auto dosing the pH and the sanitization level. So every time this pump kicks in, it's going to deliver the nutrients we want at the temperature we want, at the pH we want, that's sanitized. And it's just going to be automated. You know, so that's where I'm at. Let me show you the flower room. We finally have some clones in, and we're excited for this room to start popping off. It's going to be noisy in there, so maybe I'll edit the audio out after. We'll see, or maybe you're just going to have to deal with it. But one thing on clones that I just will say, I've been experimenting with running sanitized environments for plants, and I've had great success. Low sanitized levels, but accurately sanitized. So using an ORT meter to dial in, the measurement is called millivolts. And so keeping those millivolts kind of between 400 and 500. So it's basically like less toxic or less sanitized than what you drink out of your tap, right? So this is enough, especially when it's dialed in, to knock out anything that's going to jeopardize your root mass. So you're not going to have any issues in your water ever, or your root mass ever. but not so toxic that it's not so sanitized that it's going to cause issues for your plants. So yeah. But what I found with cloning is that we ran our clones, and I wanted to try running a sanitized solution. I've never done sanitized solution for clones before, and what I found was it actually hampered their development. It usually, I have within 10 days, I have clones that have a root mass, you know, it's a porcupine, you know, that big of roots, and by using a sanitizer too early, it really slowed down the ability for the cuts to callus and then to push roots out. So it actually took 20 days, and the result is, I mean, we have some sadder looking clones than what I would usually have, and there's some inconsistency there. But I mean, it's journey. So our second run that you'll see, we have a few plants going in to test this. I'll make another video on this, but I mean, we're testing something that's kind of cool, way better. So if you're gonna do sanitized, skip the sanitized solution until you have roots. That's only 10 days of solution. Change your solution out once, and then as soon as you have roots, start adding sanitizer. Is what we've done and what we're going to do. So anyway, let's check out that room quick. And you guys, thanks for watching. We appreciate the support. We're a super small business, the Visionary Hydroponics. So every like, every follow, every purchase gets us one step closer to having a sustainable business and bringing you guys deep water culture products. So we really appreciate every one of you and everything you guys do to support us. Yo.